We are live. Okay, so you could confirm, check your page. I'm so sure we are live.
Yeah. Okay. Let me.
Okay. Um, it's always fun doing this. It's always fun doing this, and we love doing what we are doing. And I don't think we have plans going back. Yeah, so this is me and you now encouraging ourselves and looking forward to the most important reward, which is providing a comfortable childhood for our children. That being said, it's my pleasure to welcome our guests, wherever you're joining us from, wherever you're viewing from. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's a pleasure that you've given us the privilege to grace your screen this morning. Meanwhile, thank God it's a Friday. So after this, we're going to celebrate in our own different ways. Yeah, sure, it's Friday. So possibly I'll go play football, I'll cook, I'll do so many things. Okay, this is Child Up, and we are so committed to what we do. And that's why you see us every month, we try to put up something. Why are we doing this? One, it's to encourage our parents. Two, it's to tell the government, look, if we can do this, it will be better because we are the ones in the forefront of this. And three, is to reassure ourselves that we are leaving this world better than we met it. It's a PTA, a different thing, like our president would say, a different town hall meeting. It's a very different thing. And for us, no two meetings are the same. We've done childhood behavior, we've tried something on why children fell, and we've initiated a virtual PTA. On set today is someone who is committed, who is passionate, who feels that there should be an inclusive education for special needs children. It's a regular face. It's someone who is making so much waves in this fight. On set today is a friend, a big sister, a facilitator, and the most important thing, a pastor, a mother, and a wife. So we welcome on set today, esteemed Pastor Mbiatke Nyedion Thomas. Pastor, welcome on set.
Thank you very much, Obong. You know, I love doing this with you.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be here this morning.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor. I almost said something like opening prayers. You know, ours is very different in that we are not bounded by, would say, broadcasting process, broadcasting procedure. No, it's a free world. And one thing about children is, if you're working with children, you need to be free. So we won't just come on set and start saying to ourselves, no, in broadcasting, you do like this, you do like this. No, we don't do that. We try to be very free, play as much as we can, because to be a child, to communicate with a child, you must step into their world. That's the key thing. So we move on today. We did a recording last time, Pastor, and while recording, I said I had a friend back said, and she said something at the end of it, that everything you said everything you said, it's true. Like someone testified, and she was one of the person that said that we should bring this back. Here we are again on this, but today we are doing it on a different style. Today on is gifted and empowered, a journey into the minds of people living with special needs. Pastor, let's set it rolling. What does it look like to live in a world, in a competitive world like this with special needs? Can you try to paint a mental picture of what it looks like?
Oh, beautiful. I have always asked myself until I decided to do a journey personally into their minds, and that led me into advocating. In this part of the world, in Africa, where we come from, in Nigeria, where we come from, children living with special needs and learning disabilities are oftentimes pushed out of the realities of living because people think that they are not mentally able to carry out day-to-day chores. So they are pushed out of involuntarily against their will out of living optimally.
Okay. Okay. So, like I said, our society is very competitive. This is someone who is very comfortable, finding it difficult to live, finding it difficult to cope with daily activities. And on the other side is someone with special needs. Last time you said that what really comes to the mind of people once we say special needs, it's negativity. Yes. And we want to fight that trend. So today we're going to start this fight as much as we can. That when we say special needs, it's not really about negativity. So can you tell us the negative part of special needs and move on to tell us the positive part of special need?
Okay, let me start with the positive part of
Okay.
having a special need. This means that you are unique. You have a peculiarity that is not common. You are wired differently for task. Someone with a special need, the positive part is that this person is able to do what a regular person in quote cannot do. This person is more empowered. For example, someone with dyslexia, they are super, super imaginative. They are super, super creative. They are goal oriented. They are problem solving oriented, which their brain just, goes to problem solving, which is something that someone with a regular neurological setup may not have. But someone with dyslexia is imaginative. When he was seeing a flower, his mind has gone ahead to see a tree. So he's more goal oriented. The only issue he has is that he may not be able to put this thing in pen and paper in school work. But if you give him the chance to do it his way, he will do it better than a child with regular neurological setup. Then someone with ADHD, they have the whole energy thing. So when you put them, or if you put them in a job that requires a lot of energy, they will succeed. High energy jobs, sports. That's where you see them running and you think they're on some other thing. You don't know that nature has empowered that constant pumping of energy into them. So then
Okay.
let's go to the negative aspects. The negative aspect, anyway, there's in every disability, there's an ability. So it's not entirely negative. It's that their neurological setup, the brain setup, suffers a lot of school and cognitive challenges. They may not be able to do it like the regular person. But note, this does not mean they cannot do it. It's just that they may not be able to do it the way society wants them to do it. That's just the negative aspect of it. That's
Okay.
just the only thing that is negative, that they may not be able to do it the acceptable way, does not mean they cannot do it. So it's the
Okay.
society that is struggling to understand them. They don't have a problem living life. It's the society that has the problem understanding them. So they have a
So,
problem with people, the society understanding them. So that's where their challenge comes in.
okay, so like a madman once said that he's not actually the mad one. He's not actually the one with the problem. That the problem is with the people who are looking at him. That they're
Thinking
actually the
he's
ones
mad.
who are mad. So we can answer that people living with special needs, they don't have any problem. That if they are given the level playing ground, they can achieve what every other person can
Beautiful.
achieve.
It's just like someone living with a physical disability. Like maybe the person is crippled, and if we have a responsible government that the makes accommodation for them to use their wheelchairs to offices, to wherever they want to go, makes sure there are ramps everywhere. Why can't they walk? Why will they walk? Why will they go places with their wheelchairs? If you have a blind man, and then the society, the government has put in place multisensory equipment for them, they will walk. I was shocked the other day. I was on his laptop, and we had a great interview. Why? Because he has empowered himself, and his immediate society has empowered him to walk.
Okay, but I don't know for others, but for me, I think somewhere it's possible that someone somewhere is capable of mistaking physical disability with special needs.
Yes.
Yeah, are there any differences or like just one or two? Would there be any difference between
There
these two,
is a
physical
huge, yes,
disability
there is
and
a difference. There's a difference. When we have different types of special needs, you can have someone that has um, a physical disability. That means he could be late. That's just the problem of mobility. There's nothing wrong with the neurological setup.
okay?
It's just a problem of mobility, it's just physical inhibitions. Then you have someone with special needs. That means this person is gifted and wired differently, not the regular. He or she doesn't come in the regular package. He
Okay.
comes gifted. Then you
Yes.
have learning disabilities. A learning disability is a neurological condition. This means that the inhibitions the person with the physical disability is facing, this other person is not facing it physically, but is facing it in the mind. Neurological means the mind. So this person is facing these inhibitions, these limitations in his mind. He doesn't have anything wrong physically. He can walk, he can jump. That's if it's not a case of autism, or if it's not a case of speech disorder. He can walk, jump, see, hear, and everything. But his challenge, his limitation is not in the mind, but in the brain. Not in the mind, but in the brain.
Okay. Not in the mind, but the
But
brain.
in the brain. That's why it is not a mental impairment. It is not a mental problem. That's why I kept stressing not in the mind, because a person that has a problem in the mind is mentally challenged. That's a madman. But a person that has a neurological challenge just has a brain problem, not a mind problem.
Okay. Now there's this how do I put it? There's this mindset that grows in our society, and most times they try to rate someone based on who he or she is. So let's fall back. I didn't just want us to start from blowing a trumpet and doing this or doing that. I just wanted us to move immediately into the business of it. But let's fall back. What got you into this? Because I know it's passion. One, two. Then two, there must have been an earlier preparation for this. So can you tell us how you got into this part of childhood development?
Okay, I started my career as an educational administrator. that's working with schools, setting up the whole school system. And then I realized I'm a curriculum developer for early childhood. I realized that when the curriculum was presented to teachers, one, they did not know how to get it across to the children because most of them didn't understand differential teaching. Most of them didn't have an idea of the individualized education plan, and most teachers did not have the idea of having kids with learning disabilities, or they just thought if the child is not understanding it means the child is slow. That's why I'm careful about using the word slow learner, because they just put them under a big umbrella, slow learner. They didn't understand that there could be something like learning disabilities. So I saw the teachers struggling, I saw the learners struggling, and I saw the school owners, stakeholders, parents getting frustrated. So I decided to find out, why is the curriculum not being understood? That led me into my journey of discovering learning disabilities and special needs. And to bring it closer home, my nephew, I have a nephew that is a special needs child, and his is comorbidity. Comorbidities, that means when you have two or more special needs, he has cerebral palsy, and his is the four limbs. His four limbs are, he can't use any of them.
Wow.
He has autism,
Mm.
breathing problems, just like he has like seven of these needs in one human being. And I wanted that the next child I meet, I'll be able to offer hope. The next teacher I meet, I'll be able to offer a solution. The next parent I meet, I'll be able to give an answer. So that began my journey.
Okay. So so far so good, I believe. So can you tell us part of the things you've done? We are aware you have an organization, Teach Audacious. We are aware of that. So can you just lead us into what you've done so far and what you're planning to do to accommodate special needs children?
Okay, we run at an inclusive learning facility. So if you come to our learning facility in Uyo, we have autistic children, we have children with, different needs and disabilities using the same curriculum, and they are doing well. So I advocate, Teach Audacious advocates for inclusive education for learners with special needs. We offer support to families that have kids abilities. Let me let you understand that it's not just the kids that suffer, the families suffer severe cases of stigmatization and discrimination. So we offer support, we offer counseling sessions, we offer psychological support. For example, some days back, a parent reached out to me and said that she can't even step out of her house because of the ridicule. But because we've created an avenue that people can call in and talk, just talk. We don't, you can be anonymous, just talk, just vent. And we offer psychological support. So we have people calling in, just talk. We don't, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying. Just call in and talk. Just send
Just
us a message and talk. We'll send you the hug. It's tough for them. So we offer support to families, and we train teachers. We train teachers because no matter how the child is sent to school, if the teachers are not capable, if the teachers are not skilled enough to handle these children, there'll still be a problem. So Teach Audacious trains teachers for schools. We tell school owners, hey, let's train your teachers. Let's show them how to teach effectively. Because it's one thing being certified. The job is in being skilled and effective. So we
okay.
train teachers for schools. And you asked about what we intend to do. With other bodies, with presently, I'm in close collaboration. I want with the SA on disabilities in Akwa Ibom State, and we have made one or two people. So we are looking at how to push a bill asking the government to sign into law compulsory inclusion in schools for learners with special needs and learning disabilities. Let there be a law that is punishable, that school owners, schools that refuse admission of these children should face the law. So we are looking at how to push that bill. We are creating awareness. We are asking government, there's something we can do. So that's what I'm trying to do. How can we get our
Okay.
government? Lagos State has done that already. How can we
Okay.
get our government to
Yeah.
approve this bill into law?
Let me just tip in some things there. Now, I know that there are some special learning center for kids with special needs. I know there are centers like that. Like there is one there in Uyo. Yeah, I think it's along where you have the state INEC office. I think there is one there close to that army
Yes, we have an inclusive school.
yeah, there is one there. And now by the time we try to push them into general schools, everyday schooling, don't you think that they will actually find it difficult to join or to flow on the same pace? For instance, a school like we are school that you have over, I think we are school should be more than 500 students minimum. So by the time you put a child there, don't you think he or she will be struggling to catch up with the speed of the day?
No. We advocate inclusive education because they are going into the society.
Okay.
They are not going to form a community that is just them, right? They are going into a society with diverse people. And then in the class setting, we ask that teachers do differential teaching. And even in the assessments, when you're assessing kids, especially for those in preschool and primary, when you are assessing them, you use a different type of assessment. See what, when they came in, what were they able to do, and what can you know, it's a work of patience. It's a work of patience. And while you are working with these kids with special needs and learning disabilities, discover what they can do, discover their career path. It's not everyone that needs to go into the university.
Yeah.
There are children with learning disabilities that will not thrive in the university. So while schooling them, try to get an education for them. They don't need, it's not all of them that needs to go into the university. They can get skills along the schooling path and then go off and learn these skills.
No, before you take it from me, I actually want to take the credit for asking questions while you answer the questions because we are about entering into my next question. Yesterday we had a discussion between the difference between school and education. You said it a few seconds ago. Now, what does it look like? Remember, our topic is we are trying to understand the mind. What does it look like when we tell them it's school? And what is it supposed to look like when we tell them it's education? We are trying to push them into the wall to make them feel, not just feel, we want them to understand that they are part of us. So, what would be the difference between school and education to a special need child, and how can these things be achieved?
It's a beautiful question, Mr. Ubon. Schooling is just the whole structure thing where you have the curriculum, scheme of work, term one. The child should be able to write 1 to 100 and you score on that. You have to go to school. It's the whole formal setting. Schooling can only take place in a formal setting. Now, education. We have three types of education. We have the formal education, we have the semi-formal education, and we have the non-formal education. So education is acquiring of skills, acquiring of values, which is what the child would need in the society. The child with special needs, yes, schooling is good, the whole curriculum setting, because they are intertwined. One can, you need both, but you need more of education. A child with special needs may not really thrive in the schooling. He may, okay, like a child that has autism or dyslexia may never be able to get to your 1 to 1,000 for a 5-year-old child. He may never be able to write that. But then if you teach him skills and values that that he's using his natural abilities to perform, he will succeed in it. So we say, in as much as we introduce them to schooling, education. Let's introduce them more to acquisition of skills. Look at Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps has a special need. The swimmer. You don't need to know A to Z to swim, but he's a famous record breaking swimmer because naturally that is his innate ability. I don't know if you understand me.
I do.
Michael, look at him. Look at Will Smith. We all know Will Smith. Will Smith has a learning disability. He doesn't need to pass through Oxford. He didn't need to pass through Oxford University to become Will Smith. All he needed to do was to reach inside of him and get his natural abilities because he got an education. Acting is a skill.
Okay.
Someone was able to point him to his skill.
Let-
Someone was able to get him an education by
uh,
giving him a skill, and he's succeeding.
I know what acting is. We can all act, but to go to that level Smith is demands grace. So remember, our focus area is Africa, Nigeria. So how do we identify the ability? Because I from what you've said, I understand education to mean identifying the abilities and building on it.
And
So
sharpening it.
yeah, okay, sharpening it. So how do we identify the abilities for a child living with autism? How do we identify his ability? For someone with hyperactivity disorder, how do we identify their ability? Let's start getting into their minds and how it works.
Okay. For example, someone that has autism, there are different spectrums of autism.
Okay.
There's the level of autism that the child is super intelligent. It's just like the difference between dyslexia and hyperlexia, right?
Okay.
Everyone knows dyslexia, that it's the inability of a child to read, write, and all of that. But very few people know about hyperlexia. Hyperlexia is when a child can do way above his age. So there's always subtle symptoms. That's why, as teachers and as parents, as stakeholders, it behoves on us to study and know the symptoms that each learner or each child will exhibit that will point us to his peculiarity.
Okay.
So
So
that's how you identify. We need to be more intentional about studying, knowing, and having a knowledge of these symptoms.
okay. Okay. So remember today's on we are actually trying to let people understand, look, that as you're listening to us, it's possible you have a special need, but because you've not been diagnosed, you've not identified it. So imagine working, I mean, you're booking an appointment with a doctor, maybe you had some pains around your neck, and you get there, the doctor decides to check and said, okay, the doctor decides to maybe try to do some cross-examination. And at the end of the day, the doctor said, oh, sorry, you have disorder, hyperactivity disorder. And you're like, since when? It happens. I mean, I can say 1 out of 10. Though I can't really stand on this research, but I
Even
can
one
say
out
one.
of 10, more
Yeah,
than 1 out of 10. Let's
more
say,
than
let's
that.
say 6 people to be on the safe side have one learning disability or the other. Six
And
out of 10.
and they've been doing very well without feeling disadvantaged. So with this
Yes.
mindset, it's possible that if we can invest enough time with that child who we've identified as having a special need, it's very possible that this child will come up not just a nuisance to the society. Because all we are trying to do now is to say to you that at the point of adulthood, a child shouldn't be a nuisance to the society. See,
Beautiful.
see what's going on. You create a WhatsApp group and you see people coming to do things, and you're asking yourself, but wait, where are you coming from? You've seen this group, it was created for a particular reason, and you're coming in to advertise something else. And then next thing, you start telling people go to hell. These are the kind of things, I mean, these are the things we are really fighting against. So let's try to get something out of this. Gifted and empowered, a journey into the minds of people living with special needs. What
Okay,
if they,
I
what,
always say this.
okay,
Okay, go
okay,
ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
okay. Now,
I
I would
always
say,
say this that the man is the child. You can't separate the two of them.
okay,
So a man that is an adult that is causing a nuisance in the society today was an untamed child.
untamed child.
Yes, that's why he's always been a potential nuisance. He was just growing in stages. The man will always be the child. So if we can tackle the issue of childhood, the society will not have a problem with his or her with her adults.
For me, I think we have special education needs and we have special society needs. Two of us.
Oh my God. The both are intertwined. See, a child with, okay, yeah, I think you're correct because the other one may not even have any form of neurological impairment. He wasn't just tamed as a
Yeah,
child.
yeah, because for special education needs, we could tell them to, we could liken them to deafness, yeah, autism, and the rest. That's, I mean, those are the needs during an educational setting. Now, the special ones could actually be emotional tantrum. That's the inability of someone to get beyond. Like yesterday, while discussing, I told you, look, we can actually blame childhood for this. But it gets to a point
Yes.
where we can say, look, you are now an adult. And we assume you've gotten in contact with people that should shape you or frame your life. But why do you still hold back until you say something that for some of them, they don't have the strength, that inability to get out of
Yeah.
um that bad
The
history,
willpower to
that the
break
willpower
free.
to break free is actually. So I can now believe that there should be a difference between special education needs or educational needs and special societal or social needs. I think there should be a difference between the two.
Yeah,
So what?
I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay, so it's fun. This is one topic we can't really exhaust nor exhume because on daily basis these things are just there looking to us
You know.
and seeking our attention. We cannot ignore them. We can't just say they don't matter. They really matter. I
Yes,
like the
they do.
topic. I like the topic gifted and empowered. So can we just establish something now that as far as the topic gifted and empowered is concerned, there is more to it than mere words. So if you're being called upon to advise the government of the day, what would you say to them in terms of gifted and empowered? What would you say to them?
Like I will always say to the government and everyone that cares to listen, for every child, let us create enabling environment. Let's create an enabling society for these children to thrive. For example, there's a child that I'm working with. She has Down syndrome. She was in a school. I actually met the school owner and she complained, oh, this child has been here. And she repeated 6 times, one class. She was in one class for 6 years. And I said, okay, can I meet the child? And then when I met the child, I said, oh, this child has Down syndrome. And I told the parents, see, it's going to be a tough job for her to become the medical doctor or the lawyer or the engineer the society wants her to be, or the pilot. Let us look for what she can do. So I started a journey with the child. And the other, fine, we do a little bit of schooling with her. Then I now take her, we started looking for skills she could do. This young woman amazed me the day she made throw pillows, hand stitched throw pillows. And we were able to discover that she is good with tailoring, she's good with her hands, and she made that. And we talked about it. Can you see that we can sell this? Can you see that if we've gotten a career path for her, we've discovered one because she's not limited to just one. We've discovered one that could make her financially independent. We've discovered one that is her passion. So if we could do that for that one child, and the government creates an enabling society, more children with special needs and learning disabilities will be able to discover their niche and thrive in it. So I will ask the government, I will ask stakeholders, let us create an enabling society for our children to thrive, for these children with learning disabilities and special needs to thrive. If you are a parent and you watch closely, watch that child closely, look at the skills he enjoys. He mustn't always come out top of the class, right? That's schooling. Look at the skills he enjoys and help him carve a niche that he can dominate over.
Okay, and let him establish itself, because in creating this niche, now you discover that that's the world this child wants to grow in. So let's do away with forcing them into school. For me, I actually want to believe that schooling is not for them. Rather, education is for them. Because the way the
That's it
world
for
goes
all.
now, the way the world goes now, I mean, it will get to a point where it's only skills will be putting food on people's table. Education will be, I mean, school will be secondary. So
Yes.
that was for the government. Now, to the parents, do they need to feel that a special need child is a curse? Do they need to feel that it's a mistake? What would you say to that mother who believes that the child is a punishment? What would you say to that father who believes that a special need child is a punishment from God?
I absolutely want to say that no child is a punishment, no child is a curse. It's just what the society wants you to believe. You know, the other day I listed out career choices for kids with dyslexia, and amazingly, I don't know if you noticed that we had high income skills amongst those career choices.
Yeah.
High income skills were included for
And
kids with dyslexia.
they were actually very easy, what we call quick win investment opportunities. I mean, those ones that they won't
That
even
you don't
stress
even
themselves.
need to know your A to Z.
Ah,
We had courses like robotic there. We had graphic design. All this artificial intelligence. All of these high-ended, high-income skills that these are what people with dyslexia will actually thrive in. So for parents, I want to say your child is not a mistake. Invest in that child as you will invest in any other child, and see that child put you on the world stage. You know, the other day I was on Google and I was going through it, and then a name popped up as okay, I was searching for famous sportsmen with special needs, with learning disabilities. And a name popped up that left me speechless. The name Lionel Mercy popped up on my screen.
yeah,
The goats,
yeah,
greatest of all times,
the greatest
popped up
of,
on my screen.
ah,
He doesn't need to know his A to Z to play football like a magician. So
yeah,
I say to parents, which is one thing I say to myself, discover discover the abilities of your child. Pump pumping enough confidence in that child to chase his or her dream. And there's actually no job, there's actually no career that cannot put you on the world stage. Even if you are selling stones, you can be the best stone seller there is in the world.
Okay.
That's why I say to people, if you can't be the sun, come and be the moon. Just be the best of whatever you are. Find a niche for them to excel. Look at Richard Branson, owner of Virgin Atlantic. He's dyslexic. Look at Bill Gates. Those were the names that popped up. Bill Gates popped up. Whoopi Goldberg. These are world people that we all know, and they have one learning disability or the other. Some of them even have two learning disabilities. So if they can succeed, if their parents believed enough to push them, then we can believe enough in our kids in Africa to push them to succeed.
Yeah. Pastor Ma, I think this should be very this question is emotional. Yeah. For a while we've been tackling the issue of childhood behavior for a very long time now. We've been trying to um create an understanding of what it looks like. So would we say that, or how would a parent differentiate when a child is doing mere tantrum and when a child is really communicating his or her emotion? Is it possible? Like now we are talking about a special needs child. Is it possible for a parent to know when this child is doing the normal tantrum? I mean, this is an example of autism. And is it possible for a parent to know when the child is really feeling pain and wants to get something done? Is it possible?
You definitely, through observations, constant observations, like you just said something brilliant. Autism. Children with autism always throw tantrums because they have meltdowns. It's not them doing it, it's their brain doing it. So they have little or no control over those meltdowns and tantrums. You see, some of them will pull their hair until it goes off from the skin.
Okay.
It's not them. The brain is now working independent of their
Yeah.
social, and it's working independent of it. So children with autism, they throw tantrums, they do all of that, they have the meltdowns, they could just in public lie down and all of that. But with careful observation, you will know if it's a regular child. Through constant training, the child will begin to behave. But now, in a child with special needs like autism, no matter how you hit, like in societies where they believe you should hit the child, no matter how you try to, the child is still doing it. At that point, you know it's no more the child. At that point, you should know it's no more the child, because no matter the correction and everything, and then you discover, you even observe that the child doesn't even understand that what he is doing is wrong. Because that's the case now with children with special needs, like the autism. They don't even know it's wrong. They don't even understand why you are punishing them.
Yeah.
They don't even know. So why are you? I like in education, we say nothing has been learned if it has not been taught. So they don't even understand why you are punishing them. So
I,
with
I
careful observation, when you see repetitive behaviors, repetitive abnormalities, and like I tell parents, please let me just give me like 2 seconds, let me buttress this point.
sure,
Like I
sure.
tell parents, if you observe early enough, you can actually discover if your child has a learning disability or a special need. If you are observant enough, even from 3 months, there are certain symptoms that that child will exhibit. We should get you on your toes, observing more closely, even from 3 months. And I want to say another thing here, that not all learning disabilities are congenital. Some are acquired because of careless lifestyles of the parents. It's not all that is congenital. That means the child was born with it. Some of this is due to ignorance. Some of this is due to lifestyle. So it's not all. Some of these learning disabilities are acquired learning disabilities. Let me give an example. For example, let us look at dyscalculia. as a learning disability. Dyscalculia is the inability of a child to understand mathematical concepts and the whole calculation thing, right? There are people that from birth, it's a disorder, but people like us have acquired dyscalculia because you walk into the school system. If you are a Nigerian, you will understand and say, oh, mathematics is hard, math teachers are not friendly. Your brain automatically resets and you don't even bother trying. Your brain has shut down and tells you you can't do it. That's acquired dyscalculia. So, like I had acquired dyscalculia. It was after I grew up and left the university that, someone would give a mathematical and I can just calculate it standing on my feet. And I'm like, oh, I actually got that. I actually got that correctly. So, if I had tried harder or if I had believed that it was possible while growing up in school, I would have been good in maths. But because I had acquired dyscalculia, I just shut down. I didn't bother trying. It's now that I know that, oh, I would have been a good math student if I had not acquired dyscalculia. Mine was not congenital. Mine was not, mine was acquired dyscalculia, which almost every Nigerian child may be having acquired dyscalculia because of the fear that we've grown up about hearing about mathematics. I don't know if you understand me. Yes,
let,
and
let,
when I talked about, yeah, so that's acquired, that's an acquired learning disability, which I am the victim.
let,
I
let,
have, which I'm sure I have people identifying. It's not every learning disability that comes from conception. Some,
yeah.
like dyscalculia and dysgraphia, is acquired.
No,
Then let me also talk about. Okay, let me also talk about when I talked about learning disabilities as a result of lifestyle and ignorance. As a result of lifestyle and ignorance. In the brain, in the setting of the brain, there are two parts of the brain that are very important. That's the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. And this is responsible for memory. And this part is just, the prefrontal cortex is just after your forehead. And it's very delicate. It can be damaged easily because it's sensitive. But then look at, in our community, in our society where we come from, mothers are not careful about falls of the child, which can distort the structure and the function of a regular child that was born. I don't know if you understand me. You
I
know how our parents, the African or the Nigerian reset manual, they just give it to you on the head. It's manual reset for every Nigerian child. We do that carelessly, and we forget that the PFC and the hippocampus takes at least up to 25 years. It matures in its 20s. So this constant falls, this constant traumatizing of the neurological setting can cause epilepsy and
yeah.
blindness later on in life. This trauma to the brain. So that's acquired. Then you look at another thing, mothers, when you are pregnant, please, mothers, this is the environment you live in is a high risk factor for you. When you live under when you live in a society that is emitting mercury and very dangerous substances, when at the point of conception, please, at the point of delivery, mothers, when you traumatize the brain of your child through prolonged labor, I can't shout this loud enough. These things, now you see, you end up with this child because, like cerebral palsy, it's until recently that it was widely believed that, which is still true, that it was as a result of loss of oxygen to the brain, which is still correct,
Yeah.
because you have overlabored. You should have just done a surgery. You have overlabored, you have traumatized the child. So remember now, factory setting in quotes, this child didn't come with CP. But because at the point of birth, the child is struggling for life even before being born. The child is traumatized and the oxygen is not going to the brain as it should. You end up with a child that originally you should not have ended up with.
Yeah. So
because it's trauma, illnesses. Please get to see your doctor when you are pregnant. It could solve a lot of things for us. And also remember that special needs and learning disabilities can be hereditary too. Most often times it's hereditary. So if we
okay.
are aware of all these things, it will help us save.
Now, why you said that, I quickly went through the net, and I saw something. Now, if it's difficult for parents to understand their child who is very vocal, who is okay, come to think of what it is to understand a child living with special needs. So, from what Pastor Ndiatke said, for me, I will say this: dear father, dear mother, dear parents, see, to be able to stay on the same plane with your special need child, I understand how challenging it is. For me, I work with, I'm into social care. So imagine working with a man who is 60 years old, but he's still living with his own special needs. He's autistic. Sometimes he will just stand up, before you know, he defecates everywhere. So we just have to devise a way that he only gets to bed from 11 p.m. I mean, that's when his brain starts working. If he gets to bed earlier than that, before you know, he puts off his pampers and everything. You get into the room and the room is messed up. So let's apply this to a parent. Number one, establish the basic behavior of your child. Know every behavior of your child. Know when it's normal. And once it gets beyond or different from what you've known it to be, like if your child says tata every day, and a particular day your child says mama, know that something is wrong somewhere. I mean, that's how you get
When he
to
cannot meet milestones that
yes.
affect that to his age, when that child cannot meet milestones, educational milestones, psychological milestones, physical milestones, once he cannot reach it consistently and constantly, it is time to begin to seek help. Early intervention
Yeah,
is key.
it's time to seek it. So in getting to understand the mind of these children, now, number one, understand it. Not just understand, establish it. Now you've identified that your child is a special need child. No two ways about it. Now, how do you cope with this child? Number one, just draw a margin line between a normal behavior of this child and that which is abnormal. If you do that, you will know when this child is doing something else. You know when something is wrong with the child. Number two, develop strategies to handle each of these behavior. Number
Beautiful.
one, identify. Just know that if your child wakes up by 7 a.m. every day and a particular day is not awake by 7 a.m., know that something is wrong. It's as
Yes,
simple as
because
that.
because you've established
You
patterns,
establish it.
you've
Yes.
established a regimen, you've established consistency.
Well, yeah,
So once your child goes
that's the
off
right word.
consistency,
You know
it's time to
something is
set your
wrong.
alerts on.
Yeah, yeah. Then number two, you devise strategies. Number three, you recognize what triggers this behavior. For instance, if your child has phobia for cold and you're still exposing this child to cold, no, it's uncalled for. So recognize what triggers
His
this thing.
triggers and what
Then
calms him.
yes, yes. Then by the time you recognize that, I beg number four, don't feel bad talking to people. I tell you that that problem you think you are the only person facing, your neighbor is facing the same thing. Forget our lifestyle like a problem shared is a problem. A problem shared is what a problem. What that
Problem
is.
halved.
Yeah. No. So share your problem. Talk to other mothers. By now you should have
Seek
created
professional help in as
help
much as you are talking to
you
other
to other
mothers.
mothers.
Seek
Yeah.
help.
To other mothers. Yeah. That's wisdom now. By now you know. I mean, at this point we're actually talking about parents who must have identified that look, my child is with special needs. You must have seen another parent like you, and you know when problems bring people together, they now become friends. Talk to them. Don't keep it to
Join
yourself.
support communities.
Yeah, that's it.
Join
That's it.
support communities. And please let me also put the
Sure.
this. Please focus more on the strength of your child than on the weaknesses. Focus more on the abilities than his or her disabilities, because it is in his or her abilities that you'll be able to carve a niche for the child. So focus more on the strength and less
Then,
focus on the weakness while supporting your child.
of course, I mean, no one will build on a weak foundation. One day, my sister, we by then we were all there. We were still growing together. One day, I said to her, "Good, let me use the baby. Borrow me." That means you are a goat now. All those child stuff. It was actually a joke. Do you know what my sister did? She behaved like a goat. And I said to her, so you're really doing this? She said, but you said I'm a goat now, so I should behave like one. So you can't build on a weak foundation.
Yeah, starts bleating.
Yeah, you can't. So invest more on making this child feel like, look, I can do it. If Lionel
Yeah, invest
Messi,
more on making a star out of the child.
yeah, 'cause so once you do that, now you're actually helping your child build his self-esteem, and the child takes it off from there. Just give him that platform. Give him don't put him inside the house. Let him compete with his contemporaries. There's nothing wrong.
Okay, can I say something quickly?
Sure, sure.
Please, and then mothers with regular children, teach your regular children to show empathy and support to children living with special needs and learning disabilities. When they bully those children, stop them immediately. Teach them to show love. Teach our regular children how to include our special needs children in their world.
Yeah,
Please,
yeah. So,
teach them.
imagine putting all these things together. You discover that that child is gifted and that child is empowered. All the child needs is an enabling environment to grow. Oh, that's all
Yes.
the child needs. Don't self-pity the child.
At
Get a
all.
feel
There's
for the
nothing
child.
wrong with the child. He's just uniquely gifted and empowered differently.
Of course. So I mean, I don't see any need. Let Even when the child feels discouraged, I mean, this child doesn't even know he has a problem. It's only with the parents that understand he
It's
or
the
she has a
society
problem.
that tells him he has a problem.
Of course. So what is it? If your child feels bad outside, it gets back to the house and you make him understand that he is bad. No, you can't fix it up. He comes back telling him it's a lie. It's actually from them.
You are a star, you can succeed. Pump in affirmation words.
So okay, for instance, I said this to someone. Three as we wrap up this session, there are about three factors that contributes to a child failure. Number one, the financial ability of the parents. So then number two, the how do I put it? Is it, should I say wisdom, the intelligent quotient of a child rather. Then number three, the physical stature of a child, how tall a child is. Let me say this. Someone tried debating with me. I said, just cool down. I understand what I'm saying. I suffered from this thing. I attended a nursery school. My parents were not really that okay, and I wasn't tall. If my contemporaries see me now, they say, we never thought you would grow this taller. That's what they said to me. So the only thing that gave me that leverage in school was I was sound. So in my nursery school, 32 Akaitam Evangel Nursery School, there was always a stool for me. At the end of the term, they will keep it so I will climb up for parents to see this is the boy. So if you have a special need child, your money can speak for you. I mean, it's very simple. How do you do this? Get better clothes for this child. Pimp him up, pimp her up. Let it be that once she comes out, she slays. Now with this clothes now, she's going to intimidate other children, not because the child is suffering from something and you decide to abandon the child to look like man yamko. It's unfair.
Okay, can I say something there?
Sure, sure.
For me, I think that the greatest form of empowerment of that child is the mind empowerment.
The message,
Because
yeah.
someone can be dressed in Someone can be dressed in wealth and is poor in the mind. For example, like you gave an example of yourself. I'm not tall, I'm a 5 feet plus. But I'm coming from a home that my parents would tell me that is the best size. People with this size are world changers. People. So I am in a hurry to tell
Wow.
you, have you seen my height? Why are you too tall? So when you are tall, I'm like, why are you too tall? That there's so much you can do because you
Have you
are
just-
tall. Because my parents were pumping in confidence. So that I wasn't even shy that if I'm talking to a tall person, the next thing I'm climbing the chair, I want eye contact. So I'm the one coming with my chair. I put it and I climb it and like, let's talk eyeball to eyeball. Like when you are too tall, like, don't you think there's a problem with you? You are too
and
tall.
you should cut it.
Yes, I'm like, you're too tall. Don't you think there's a problem? Because I will tell the person, look, I think the taller you are getting access to too much air. Nothing
And,
is blocking the air from entering your head. So they, because my mom would tell me that. So I'm thinking that, oh, I'm just the perfect size. I'm like, don't you think you are too tall? How are you coping with too much air entering your head? It's not proven, it's not a fact, but because I had so much confidence that there is
yeah,
nothing on earth you would tell me
nothing,
that
nothing.
will shift the fact that I think that it is short and intelligent, it is short and beautiful, it is short
Wow.
and empowered. So parents, pump your kids with
Pump them.
confidence.
Pump them. Yeah, that's the right word. As much as you get other things to drape this child, to make this child feel belong to, or belong to the environment, pump that child. I like that phrase, pump that child. Consistently pump him. And the fact
Consistently.
is, how do you even pump this child if you don't know what to pump the child with? So, Pastor, to wrap up, what should they use to pump the child with? Because for some, they
Pump
don't
your
even know
child
what
with
to do.
confidence.
Confidence.
A lot
And
of affirmative words. Give the child a level playing field. Remember, even when you are having regular, no two regular children are the same. No two children are the same. So give affirmative words. Allow your child to explore his world. Support, lots of support. Protect your child. Protect him. Let him know that, hey, nobody can bully me. Give them support. Give them emotional support, psychological support, all the support they need with plenty dosage of love.
ah, I almost said that love conquers everything. Love conquers
Plenty
everything.
dosage of love.
Plenty. Wow. What a session. What a session. The more we do this, the more we get to understand that we've covered at least a territory today. The more we do
Yeah.
this, the more we do this. And no two meetings of us has ever been the same. No. They may look the same, but the content will always be different. So thank you very much, esteemed Pastor Mbiate Thomas, for making time, for always saying yes to us. I know what it means. As it starts out, already September is here, and already I feel like shouting because I
I
know
look
already
forward to it.
you're ready for us. So now, what's the plan for September? School resumes. Are you aware of that? Now, I mean, as a teacher, as a parent, do you understand the factors that contribute to your child's failure in school? Or do you think the
Yes.
child fails because he wants to fail? No. There is how a child fails. I mean, let me take that again. There is a how factor of a child's failure in school. There is a why factor of a child's failure. There is a where factor of a child's failure.
I like
And there
that.
is always a when factor of a child's failure. I'm actually feeling like a pastor now. So, our September's edition of PTA, I mean, our virtual PTA is ready. And we are bringing in the best of us, school administrators, parents. We are just bringing them to come and share thoughts. You can't afford your child's failure again. It's too costly now. Abba, are you not tired? I said something to my sibling today. Are you not tired? For me, I'm tired. They shouldn't fail again because it's easier to train a child than to repair a man. So this is us telling you, get ready for our September's edition of Virtual PTA. It's our Parents Teachers Association. Something to learn, thoughts to share. So, Pastor, what would you say about the September's edition? Because I know for sure you'll be talking to us about special needs students why they fell in school. So what?
Yes, definitely. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking, and you know, when you were saying the children are failing, and this idea just popped up in my mind, there is even a failing that is successful.
Okay.
So when it said the how, there's how you fail and you have not failed.
Yeah,
And
sure.
remember, failing is just the first attempt in learning. It's
Yeah,
just another attempt in learning. So there's a way you fail, and you see in the failing of that child, there is a hope for success. He has not failed woefully. So September, we will be on that journey together. And you know, I love doing this with you.
sure. Thank you. You're just the best. You're just the best. I celebrate the grace. I celebrate the wisdom of God upon your life. And let me
Thank
not
you,
even
Pastor
take it from
Yubi.
now. Not yet now. I'm coming, not yet. So,
Okay, then.
to our audience, to our guests, I know for sure you will come back. For those that were online with us, thank you very much for sparing us your time. I know what it means to be online on a Friday, 10 a.m. In Nigeria. You
The
sacrifice so
work
much.
day. Yeah.
One day we sacrifice, and that's why we prefer pushing it down to the evenings 7. We value this. And for those of us that will come in to see this video online, you are the real goats for coming for this video. You are the real goats. We love you. We celebrate you. So let's do this again September. Check out. Feel free to
See
like
you
our page.
again.
Yeah, feel free to like our pages. And Pastor, I think you should just your phone number, because certainly someone will want to reach out to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so
My phone number, if you're in Nigeria, is 081 or you reach us on our email, teachaudacious@gmail.com. Please feel free to drop your questions and comments. We will be back to answer them.
okay, thank you, ma. The last time, ma, when you just take the question, the phone number as if you're writing them down. The phone number again. Oh,
081, that's you add the 234 for
yeah,
Nigeria,
yeah,
234
yeah,
81
yeah.
01,
01,
yes, 8101
yeah,
4386.
4386. Okay, so with that number, you can reach out to Pastor Thomas, and she will just tell you so much about your special needs. And guess what? She's not telling you based on theory, she's telling you these things based on the wisdom of God. Our advantage is the Holy Spirit. You may not accept this, what I've said to you, but the advantage she has is the Spirit of God, the anointing upon her life. I've followed her for a while. I've seen the results she has gotten, and your child's case is not the worst of it all. So see you again next week. Oh, not just next week, next month. And
Next
from
month.
all of us, next month, it's just few days from now. Next month, September, we love you. We celebrate you. Peace be unto you.
It's a
Bye
bye-bye from
bye.
us.
Thank you, Pastor.